FFA, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Hey, as we jumpstart this call, if you missed Monday's call, led by Grace, you missed a phenomenal call. So, shout out to you for just leading that call and doing such an amazing job, getting everybody motivated to jumpstart this week. Guys, if you didn't check out the pack that has the leaderboard in it for last month, make sure you go and do that. But big shout out to you guys who set some new team records. Big shout out to Amber for taking home Agent of the Month, and a huge shout out to all of you guys that are in the race for the Scotland trip. So many of you are just a month or two away from qualifying for that trip. So can't be more excited, guys, to wrap up the last few months of this year and see just how we end up as an agency. The new records we've already set so far this year. We've blown every other year out of the water already in terms of production. And so you guys have set the bar super high going into 2026. Could not be more excited for that. On today's call, we're going to talk about why agents get told no. All right. The infamous word no. How do you change that into being a yes, whether it's at the door, on the phone, in the presentation? I'm going to talk to you guys about why you might be getting told no and how to fix that to where you change those no's into yeses. And as we jumpstart this call, all right, we're kicking off with the verse of the day. It's Psalm 127, verse 1. It says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain." What does that verse mean? It means if he's not the center of your effort, the center of why you're doing what you're doing it for no reason, right? So as you guys embark on this career, I would encourage you to put that in your heart, put that in your mind, put that in your head as you go out there in the field every single day. Work for him, right? Do everything as if you're doing it for him. Keep him the center and just watch what happens, right? Watch what happens to your career, watch what happens to your life. Watch just the peace come into your career and the success that follows along with it. So, guys, let's talk about why agents get told no. Okay, first, I want to hear from you guys in WhatsApp. What do you think the main reason is that an agent would get told no? You know, we've seen a lot of leads where one agent may have gotten told no, then another agent buys it as an age lead or whatever, and they get told yes. What causes that to happen? Okay, maybe so far, guys, it's Wednesday. Maybe you've gotten told no a bunch this week. You look back at your activity tracker and you see a bunch of no's, right? 20 door approaches and 15 no's, 10 presentations, 3 no's. What's causing that? Okay, if we can figure out what's causing that, we can fix it. And guys, there's really only 3 reasons why you're getting told no. And if you can fix those, you're going to turn most of those no's into yeses. All right, so let's talk about number 1. The number 1 reason you get told no at the door, in the house, on the phone is your confidence in how you deliver what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, and what do I mean by the word confidence? If you feel like you're going to close the deal, if you believe that you're going to get into that door, that you're going to get told yes on the phone, that is exactly what's going to happen. But if you're shy, if you're timid, if you're doubtful, if you're negative, if you have a bad attitude, if you're expecting to get told no, then that's what's going to happen. I remember being a new agent and I would be fiddling through the presentation, fiddling through my words, right? And I just did not feel confident that I was going to walk away with a sale. And a lot of times I wouldn't, right? I think I would close maybe half of who I sat with. But then as I got more experienced and I started learning, started reading people better, I got to the point where I was genuinely surprised if I didn't close the sale. Every house I went to, every door I knocked on, I knew I was getting in. I knew I was going to get a deal. If it was an ethical situation to write an insurance plan, I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to be successful. Where does the confidence come from? And why are you lacking in it right now? Right, guys? So that's number one. If you're not delivering your door approach, your phone approach, your presentation confidently, that is why you're getting told no. People don't do business with people who aren't confident, right? I had our HVAC unit go out at the house probably 2 months ago. No, 3 months ago. It was like the middle of summer, very hot. The upstairs AC went out. It was like 100 degrees in the kids' room. And we had an HVAC technician come out. And they were up there for a very long time. And as they were up there, I could tell they didn't really know why it wasn't working, right? And they weren't confident. And we ended up wrapping up that appointment, and they left after like 2, 3 hours of doing the work, and they didn't have a solution to that problem. But for that entire time, even if they had a solution, I didn't feel that confident in what they were going to tell me would be right? Because they just didn't seem confident in knowing what they were doing. And so, guys, that could be you. That could be the persona that you're giving off to people. When you knock on the door and you give your door approach and you're not confident, you don't feel like you're supposed to be there. People can read that, and it's an instant no for them, right? I had another guy knock on our door to do pest control. And you guys have heard me talk about this. Our house is a magnet for pest control people. But they weren't that confident, okay, in what they were doing. I had a roofer come try to sell us a roof or whatever, inspect the roof, right? He was very confident in what he was doing. And he could probably sell me if I needed a roof. I didn't need a roof, but if I did, I probably would have let him do it because he was confident. He looked confident. He had a company shirt on. He had a well presented truck, right? Nothing crazy, but it was clean. He spoke quietly, not quietly, he spoke slowly, but firmly. And he made it where I could understand what he was trying to convey to me, right? And guys, that's the difference. Sometimes the only difference between you being where you're at right now and being the agent of the week, right? Like Corey was last week, got over $10,000 in production, is just how confident you relay messages to people. When you're in the presentation, how confident are you when you're flipping through each slide, right? Like, are you ready for the questions? If a client asks you a question, are you ready to field it, or do you get nervous? Do you act like you don't know the answer right to it? So, guys, confidence is the number one reason that you get told no. I've seen brand new agents that had no idea what they were doing, right? 5, 6, 7, $8,000 weeks every single week, because when they spoke, they were confident. Even when they didn't know the answer, they confidently told the client, "Hey, I don't know that answer, but I'll find out for you." And they were just a confident person. So, guys, if you're getting told no a lot, that's number one. You're lacking confidence and conviction in what you do. And you got to practice, you got to fix that. That's one thing that's in your control that you can fix going into the field, going into sales, going on that phone, picking up the dials today, is your confidence when you speak. All right. So that's number one. Number two, the second reason that I see agents get told no a lot is because they get caught off guard when objections happen. All right. And so the lack of assumption is number two. You have to assume everything in the sale. You have to assume beating the objections. You've almost got to predict what's going to happen before it happens, right? Not assuming stuff is why you're getting told no. It's not that your client doesn't like you. It's not that they're really busy today, or they don't feel good, or they're sick, or they don't have money, they're broke, they can't afford it. those are all scapegoat objections. If you assume it, you will not get told no, right? It's almost like when we take a family vacation, okay? I just love going on family vacations, but I will never plan them. I'll never on purposely set them up, right? Because I'm naturally a homebody. I want to sit at home. That's just how I am. Alicia loves vacations and she knows that I'll probably complain about going on vacation, but then when I go, I actually like going. So she's learned that she's not going to ask me if we're going on a family trip. She's just going to book it and she's just going to tell me this is when we're going on the trip and I have no option but to go, right? That's how you have to be, guys, when you assume your presentation. Don't ask, right? If Alicia came up to me and she said, "Hey, do you want to go on this trip next year? It's going to cost this much money." I'm almost always going to be like, "Let me think about it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let me think about it for a few months." And she knows I'll never get around to actually committing to doing the trip. So instead, I'll just see the charge on the card, right? I'll see the bank draft, reservation. I guess we're going on a family trip, right? She books it, it's done and she gets what she wants, right? We go on the family trip. She assumes the vacation. All right. She gets over my Grinch-like tendencies of not wanting to travel places. And she just assumes it, and that's what happens. Guys, you have to assume your way into the house. You can't ask, right? You can't say, "Hey, do you have time to talk about this? Do you want to go over this? Did you fill this out for life insurance?" You're going to get told no 99% of the time. When you're in the house and you know you can save your client $20 a month, right? You don't want to ask them, "Hey, do you want to save $20 a month and switch it to this policy?" They're probably going to tell you no. They're just not going to want to do it. It would be good for them, but they don't feel like doing it, right? So they're just going to tell you no. What if instead you said, "Hey, Mr. Jack, I'm going to save you $20 a month on your insurance plan. So I'm going to get that fixed for you. Who's your beneficiary?" And you roll straight through the application. Boom, you're not getting told no anymore. All right, guys. So the number two reason that you're getting told no is you don't assume the sale. You don't assume the door approach, the phone approach, the close. You're just asking people. All right. And if you ask people, you're only going to sell the easy people, which is like 1 or 2 out of 10. You're going to get told no 80% of the time. You're going to get very frustrated, right? And you're going to have to do a lot more work to get the result that you need to get. So you have to start assuming. I remember when my door approach was horrible. And I would get into like 3 out of 10 door approaches. And I remember, listening to Alicia and I watched her one time and she would get into every single door that the girl knocked on. And the difference between what she was doing and what I was doing is I was asking people for the presentation and she was just walking straight inside the house, right? And nobody would tell her no. So what did I start doing? I started assuming my way right into the presentation. "Hey, Miss Betty, this is what I did. This is what some of you are probably doing right now. You do your door approach, then you stand there awkwardly and wait for them to like tell you to come in or not come in, and half the time they tell you to get lost." I was doing that. Instead of saying, "Hey, Miss Betty, I'm going to go turn my car off. When I get back, let's go sit down on the porch and go over this." The minute I started doing that and assuming my way in, I'd get into like 8 out of 10 door approaches. I was very rarely getting told no. Okay. Same thing for you telesales agents. They pick up the phone. "Hey, Miss Betty, look, I'm not a telemarketer. Don't hang up the phone. We need to go over this information you sent in for." Right? You assume your way into the presentation. You assume the close. You don't ask for it, guys. If you ask, you're always going to get told no. It's just people's natural tendency is to tell you no. Okay. That's how life works. So that's number two, guys. Lack of assumption. Number three, and we'll wrap it up on this one for this Wednesday training call, why you're getting told no, okay, is because this is a hard one to explain. It's hard to put this into a sentence, right, of why you're getting told no. The way you act, all right, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but the way you act is going to get you told no. It's just a person relates to specific people. And every single person that you guys encounter is a different personality, right? Not one, two people don't all have the same exact personality, right? Everybody's a little bit different. What one person likes, another person doesn't like. You might like somebody, but they don't like this person, whatever it is, right? Everybody is just a little bit different. And how you act towards them is going to be the difference between getting told yes and getting told no. I guess you could say lack of people skills, right? That's what we'll tailor this one up to. Number three is lack of people skills. You have to be very good at adapting. Okay, if you're an agent and you're not adaptable to different personality types, you're not going to be an agent for very long. Okay, you have to be able to adapt, be likable, be trustworthy, and be friendly to people from all different personality traits, all different walks of life. You're going to go knock on someone's door, and they're going to have a Confederate flag flying and fireworks shooting off in the background and probably deer heads up on the wall, whatever. You're going to go to another person's house, right? And it's going to be the exact opposite of that. It's going to be very upscale, tidy, clean. You better not wear your shoes in their house, right? They're going to be a little bit, I don't know, stuck up, whatever you want to say, right? There's different personality types, and you have to adapt to communicate and relate to each one of those people. And if you can't do that, you're going to struggle. You're going to get told no a lot. All right. One thing that separates great agents from agents that struggle, that get told no a lot, is the great agents can adapt and are good communicators with everybody. They're friends with everybody. They're not, it doesn't matter if you're left, right, tall, short. Like you're good with talking to everybody because you're genuine. That level of being genuine is going to get you told yes. Okay, so you might not realize, guys, that you're doing this in the house, but if you're really not being relatable to people, then you're going to get told no. You're going to struggle. And if you look, all right, like take our creator as like the best example for this. When Jesus was walking around earth, he didn't just talk to people that were perfect, right? People that believed everything he believed. He actually talked to the exact opposite of him for the most part. He talked to sinners. He talked to people like Paul that were killing Christians, right? It was just like, you name it. He related to everybody. He didn't prejudge people, right? He looked at them as the person that they were. And in every single person, he found good. Might have found bad, but he also found good. You have to be like that in this industry. You have to be able to walk into somebody's house that you might believe the exact opposite of what they believe, but you could still communicate and relate with them. Relate to life, right? Relate to struggles. They tell you that they have a specific health condition. Maybe you had that health condition. Maybe somebody in your family, a friend had that. You can talk about that. You can relate, right? You can have empathy for people. Maybe they had a heart attack last year. Sympathize with them of what that was like, right? What they went through. Be genuine with every single person that you sit down with. And guys, it's amazing what happens, because when you sit down with them, they're kind of judging you, right? They don't know you. They might be judging the way you look. They might be judging what you're saying, all this different things. But the minute you start breaking down those barriers and relating to them and becoming like a team, becoming on the same page, guys, they're never gonna tell you no, right? I'm a firm believer. All right, hey, you should follow the presentation. It's a script. It's a roadmap. It'll make you successful. But if you're very good with people, you almost don't even need a presentation. Right, guys? I got my people skills to the point where when I would sit down with somebody after just 10 minutes, if I wanted to say, hey, go get your life insurance booklet, I know that they would do it. They would trust me with that. Now, I didn't do that. I didn't shortcut the presentation, but I could have because I had that level of relatability to them. Right, guys? So, how you act in every house is going to be the difference between you getting told yes and you getting told no. If you're distracted, you're texting your call to close thread like 1,000 times. Guys, I love the call to close threads, but guys, if you're on your phone, the only thing that you should do in that call to close thread is say, call to close, question mark, who's free? That's it. If there's more than that going on in that thread, you're not engaging with your client. You're on your phone. You can't be on your phone when you're talking to people, right? So all of these things, guys, matter. All of these add up to you getting told yes or you getting told no. When you're doing the application, if you're like not still talking to the person, right? And you're just like punching things in your computer and you're focused on your iPad and you're like not even communicating with that, you're hurting yourself, right? So all of these things matter. Think about if the roles were switched and you're the client and the agent's talking to you, what would you want them to be like? What would you want them to act like? How would you want them to speak that would make you feel confident in doing business with them? That's how you have to be. All right. And guys, I know that if I could do it, you can do it because I was the most introverted, socially, non-extrovert that I've ever met. And if I could do that, if I could get good at going door to door, doing people skills, talking to people that I don't even know, I know for a fact that any one of you listening to this call can do this. If I could go from getting told no 7 out of 10 doors, right? And then go and start getting into 7 out of 10 doors versus getting told no 80% of the time. I know that you can do it. It's going to take practice. It's going to take hard work, but you got to focus on those three things, right? You got to focus on how you're acting, your attitude. You got to focus on your confidence level. And then most importantly, really, you really got to focus on your assumption. Those three things, guys, are going to take you from being an okay agent to being an absolute dominant top agent, taking home the leaderboard every single week if you can perfect those three things. So hopefully this call helped you guys some. My goal for you is that you do not get told no anymore, right? It's unrealistic. You're always going to get told no. But what if you could go from closing 3 out of 10 to closing 7 out of 10? What would that do for you? What would it do for your family? What would it do for your income, your production, your career? It would change it. Focus on those three things. And I promise you guys, it's going to help you close more deals and stop getting told no. So appreciate you guys for jumping on here. That's all I got for you on today's call. Let's go keep crushing this week, and we will be back here on Friday.